Hi, welcome to the Introverts Talk Too podcast. My name is Kiersten and I'm your host. I want to do this for a really long time, and I know that sounds annoying, but hear me out. I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I semi-recently have come up with the idea to do it about being an introvert and being a young introverted Black woman in college and circle kind of around that general idea. I was in college, and I'm still in college, but I was living on campus and not really getting that stereotypical college experience that everyone usually expects to get when they get into college. And that's really what inspired me to get started doing this podcast here. And I decided to call it Introverts Talk Too because as an introvert, sometimes people don't know you talk. And that kind of sucks, but we do talk and we have a lot going on in our mind. We probably observe a little bit more and our minds are just going and going and going. We just don't usually get to speak about what we're passionate about and talk about how we feel. And I thought that this podcast would be a great opportunity for me to do that because I have a lot going on in my mind. I also wanted to do this podcast alone, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more, but the reason for that is when I'm listening to podcasts and there's more than one person and they're having a conversation, it's just a little bit ostracizing for me. So, as an introvert, hopefully speaking to other introverts, and I know introverts know how it feels to kind of be on the sidelines of conversations, I wanted to talk specifically to people who feel like they're ostracized sometimes, and I know how that feels. So let's have a conversation. I want it to be more one-on-one and more engaging. And there's nothing wrong with more than one person being on a podcast. I may have someone join me sometimes, but for the most part, I will be doing this myself. But I'm going to be talking about things from college to friendships and just going about life as an introvert. And especially as a Black introvert, because a lot of times we are not expected to be the way that we are. And sometimes I don't know if people understand how to communicate with a Black introvert just because they're expecting something different. So on that note, I hope to have you listen to my next episode of my podcast. My name's Kiersten. This is the Introverts Talk Too podcast. I do have a TikTok for this podcast. It is at Introverts Talk Too, and that is probably where I would be posting more frequently than the podcast, just because it is a lot quicker and easier to post. But yes, my name's Kiersten. I'm your host, and I hope to have you again in a future episode. Okay, bye.